Hi Scrappy friends, welcome to my channel today, the 8th of May. So what I've got for you today is something that I've been wanting to get started for ages, and this has finally given me the kick in the pants that I needed. Jana, she is Scissors Paper Glue, I think, on YouTube, was doing a sketch Saturday. I've got 20 sketches. I'm going to start from number 1 and slowly work my way through. I think this might be at least for May, it's going to hopefully be every Saturday, and then moving forward, I'm not 100% sure, maybe every other Saturday. We'll see how, if I'm still breathing at the end of May. So this is sketch 1 that I've got for today, and yeah, that's what I'm working with. What I've got here is some supplies that I've pulled out. I wanted to scrapbook these photos of my youngest. Both of my kids recently had to have some passport photos done, and they get told don't smile, and so we get this face. I've already picked a title, Hello Mr. Serious. Also, when he was a baby, he was nicknamed Mr. Serious right up until he was about 2.5, and so it's something that's stuck, and so I really wanted to run with that. As you can see, I've got some white cardstock here that I'm going to use for my background. I've got this big, it's wood veneer camera from Ellie Edwards. I think I bought it secondhand on a Facebook group or something ages ago. And my title, so I've got these are the foam thickers from We Are Memory Keepers. Says it's for the mold press, but I'm like, they're grey, and they're my favourite tiny alphabet, so I got those. I'm using grey, and I'm going to go with a grey and yellow, black and white colour scheme. The mister I used the other day in a page, and it is from this set, Pink Fresh Studio Life Noted Puffy Uppers. And then I've got Serious, which I have, I hope you can see that okay. I've got my little dot here, I haven't lost it. I'm going to colour yellow. I want to go with a yellow and grey colour scheme, and I've got a little shot of that wood grain as well. And then what I've got under here, I'm going to do some, I think, yellow mixed media in the background, probably with some grey splatters. And I have gone through my scrap paper stash and pulled out a bunch of patterns. So I've got a little bit of wood grain, I've got some different yellows, I've got some greys and some black and white. I love this pattern paper, and it's what originally showed me a yellow and grey colour scheme, and I was like, oh, I love that. So I have maybe been hoarding this pattern paper, but I've pulled out, I think I've got another piece about the same size. I've pulled out one of the pieces. It's the only piece I've got that's got the yellow and the grey. So I'm going to add some paper layers, some mixed media. What I did off camera was basically, when I pulled these out of my scrap paper box, they were all different shapes, so I just chopped them down to rectangles and squares, and I'm just going to add some layers and have a bit of a play. So yeah, I hope you enjoy my share today, and if you have any questions, make sure you leave them below. I'm going to jump on fast forward now. Okay, so off we go. I did forget to mention in my little voiceover bit before, that word serious, I've actually cut, I think, 4 times on white cardstock, and I've just laid it together, used my wet glue to stick it all together, and it's quite a thick, it's obviously 4 papers thick, which works really well for what I'm aiming for here. I've just grabbed my pencil, and I've marked roughly where that camera is going. I know that's going to be kind of the main focus of the page. Using some clear gesso here, and you can see that sketch works on the diagonal, so top left, middle, bottom right. And I'm just applying some clear gesso to that diagonal. I've popped that aside to dry, and I'm working on my title. I said in my little voiceover bit before that I was going to paint this yellow, but I don't know what I was thinking. I wanted to paint it grey. So I've got my Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolours here, and I am literally just adding paint. This is not technical at all. legible. You can see the thickness there of that word. I've got black and I've got white. I have mixed them together and I'm literally just adding it on there. I did also spray the word with some water. And you can see here I've got a couple of little white spots. I have no idea what they're from or why they're there. You can see me trying to paint over them. I'm like, what is going on here? So I do clean off my surface. No, I don't. So I've got some white gesso. I'm like, I'll just go over this again. So I just use my finger and dab some white gesso on. Pop that aside to dry. Actually, by the time I put the lid back on the gesso, it's dry. And I'm going to mix up some more paint. So that's the white and the black. I'm going to add a little bit more black to get a darker grey. And I get a much better coverage here. So much happier with that. Making sure that I do my little dot as well. And I've popped that aside to dry. So I am, like I said, using my Kuretake Gansai Tambi, I'm sorry if I butchered that, watercolours. And I'm just using the packaging technique, which I haven't used for ages. And adding some of the watercolour to my old plastic packaging with a paintbrush. And flipping the plastic over and smushing it onto the page. Very, very technical terms here. And again, I'm just working in that diagonal from the top left to the bottom right. Now, just above my cutting mat is where my photo and stuff is, so I am making sure I'm turning my paper because I really do want to avoid getting any paint on my photos. So that's why I keep turning the paper. I've come in here with another yellow. I figured that the best way to make the different yellow pattern papers not clash is to add multiple yellows, right? Makes sense. And so that's exactly what I'm doing with my mixed media as well. This is not technical at all. I do end up using, so I've got the two colours that I use for the packaging technique there. And then I'm coming in with that third, more mustardy colour yellow and adding splatters. And I'm going to clean off my mat and then use my paper towel just to soak some of that up. And then I'm going to come in with that first yellow that I started with, I think. Yep. And I mix that up on my mat so that I can make the colour more loose if I need to, so that it splatters better. I can't remember if I mentioned it, but I am using again the white cardstock by Be Arty. It's smooth, it's white, and I'm going to do a video on the white cardstock that I use and do a comparison for you. That's going to be one of my videos for this month, I've already decided. But yeah, so I'm using my paper towel to blot up those splatters. I'm getting impatient and I want to finish this page. So yeah, I'm going to add some grey splatters. You can see that I was having a bit of trouble with that, so I just added a bit more water. This big round paintbrush gives me big-ish round splatters, so I'm going to just add a few of those and then come in with that smaller paintbrush just to add some more little ones. And in just a minute I'm going to go over that with my paper towel as well. And I really like the way this background comes together. Alright, so I'm going to pop this aside, let that dry. I was going to use my glossy accents, but I couldn't get any out, so I was like, what else can I use here? So I've got Nouveau Jewel Drops, I think these ones are, in Grey Mist. And depending what it goes on, it either looks clear or it has this kind of, I don't even know how to explain it. It's not like grey, but it's not clear either. And I took photos while... There's that all done. I took photos while my Nouveau drops were still wet, so it's hard to explain. Alright, so I've popped that aside to dry, And in the sketch, there was some lines at the bottom of that main cluster, so I thought I would add some in. I've got this stamp here. It is a darkroom door stamp, I think, and watering can archival ink, so that's the darker grey. And then I decided I wanted to add in just a little bit of black in the background as well. So this is my Kaisercraft script stencil. No, this is not a stencil, it's a stamp. And I'm just adding little bits of that in those 3 areas again as well. And I really love how this background came together. I'm super impressed. It's yeah, I really love it. Looking at this now, there's a part of me kind of going, I wish I'd left this as it is. I really like that you can see all of that mixed media. But I really do like my finished page as well. So let me know, what do you think? Did I add too much paper? Did I add just the right amount? What would you have done? I've got these 2 lots of 2 photos that I'm using. These photos just crack me up. Every time I look at them, I can't help myself. So I am gluing the camera to the bottom strip. And then I realised that I wanted to add a couple of layers behind this photo strip. So I'm going to start with, I've already got the yellow behind both. I've got the grey, and I am going to ink all the edges of everything. I'm not going to distress them today, but I am inking everything. I feel like it just gives a bit more definition to each of those layers. I realise that I haven't done that around the photo mat on these ones, so I'm just going to go in and do that now. And I'm going to stick this together. It is a little bit skewiff, and I did that intentionally. And then I'm going to add this black paper as well. And do the same thing, add it a little bit skewiff. And then add my foam so that that sits just where I want it. And so I'm going to play with some papers here. I'm starting with that dark grey, and you can see I'm playing with some papers, trying to work out exactly what I want to do. I don't like that if I put a paper behind, I don't like that only part of the camera is covered. So I do end up choosing this one because I can get the whole camera behind, in front of that pattern paper. And like I said, I'm going to ink up all my edges as I go. I do play with a couple of layers before I stick much down, and then I kind of start cutting and inking and sticking as I go. But I do not make you watch all of this. This video was already long enough. So you can see I'm tucking things in, I'm, hiding stuff behind. Here I go with starting to stick some layers, and I realize that this is not going to work while I don't have my camera stuck down. So I want my camera straight on that paper, and I want the paper a little bit skewiff, and as it turns out, I think that the camera ends up almost exactly straight in the middle, which is not what I wanted, but that's okay, it works out in the end. I did want to add this grounding piece behind, so I have inked that edge up, and I'm lining it up so that his eye line is along that vertical strip as well. And you can see me going in with my T-square ruler here, trying to get things straight. Happy with that, glue that down. I think here I'm going to come in, I'm going to start adding my layers, and you can see I'm intentionally putting them on small angles, adding some ink to the edges, and I am sticking everything to this grey paper at the moment. Don't need to see a lot of it to get what I want. This one I decide I'm going to stick down the bottom. Covers up too much, so I'm going to trim that down again. Add some glue and stick that in there. I got some more yellow here. This is a slightly different yellow, and I decided that I want to tuck that in behind there. So ink it up. I don't think I leave too much more of this process in. I do decide that I want to add in a little bit of black here, and I do chop down the black that I've got happening, because this is obviously black is a very bold colour. So I'm going to just add a little bit here and there. This ends up on a tiny bit more of an angle than what I would ordinarily do, but it's okay. I'm like, yep, I'm happy with that. I'm going to stick this down. I don't know if you noticed, but I only put adhesive kind of towards the center so that I can still tuck things in if I wish. What am I doing now? Okay, I'm bringing in the title. So when I started this page, I had this idea that my title was going to go up here, and I totally forgot that I was planning on adding a ton of pattern papers. I really liked the way that that mister was sitting up there, so I did shuffle it around for 10 minutes or so, and then I moved it down here. I'm like, that's better. Leave that there to have a think about it for a while. I've die cut these cameras from that wood grain pattern paper that I had pulled out, and I really like that addition of those in the top left and bottom right. And I've moved my title again, and I'm pretty sure this is where it stays. Okay, so I felt like I needed to add some extra interest here, so I am curling up all the corners of all my layers, and I'm going to regret that later because I do try to stick something down and it takes more effort than it should, but that's okay. Alright, so turning up all my corners, and what's next? I'm going to stick my title down. Now you can see on the, well, all around, my desk is a mess. I've pulled out a bunch of things that I think I'm going to stick. I want to go in and add some things between my layers. I've got a bunch of labels there, some word phrases and stickers and stuff. And I am just sticking all of that stuff down. Sticking my title, remembering my little I. Now I had some drama when I was trying to put the nouveau onto the words, well, onto the dot. So I had to go back and do that at the end once I finished adding all my layers. So what I'm doing here is just playing with all the different bits and pieces, trying to find the right place, having to pick up some adhesive from different places. Using some tools to get in there. I do ink up all the edges of everything, and again, once I've got things in place, I do curl the edges and things up. So while I'll just let this play, because it's, you know, much more of the same, adding more things, inking them up, sticking them down. I hope that you're enjoying this video a day. It is, like I said, day 8. I am doing my best to stay on top, and then things happen, you know, like going to football on a Friday night, which means leaving home just after 5 and getting the boys in bed around 9. So if I ever suggest doing a video a day again, like 2 days before the beginning of the month, like slap me or something. I've already told my husband as well. But I really am enjoying this. I'm really enjoying jumping into my stash and using things and getting stories told, which is probably one of the main reasons why I scrapbook, to get those stories told. And it's not even the big stories, it's just our daily stories. Yeah. So I hope you are enjoying this. If you do have anything in particular you'd like to see, let me know. I know someone has asked me for some mixed media stuff, so let me know exactly what it is you'd like to see. Techniques, products, how to use this, or what that is, or that kind of stuff. If there's anything else you want to see, please let me know. We are just over a week in. Do you have a favourite video so far? Are you looking forward to something that I have said that I'm sharing? Yeah, I know too that I've got a bunch of new subscribers, so a big thank you for hitting that subscribe button. It's lovely to have you here. Welcome. Yeah, so I do love chatting with you guys as well, so leave me a comment, say hi, tell me what you're up to. Got any plans for Mother's Day? You know, it is Mother's Day here in Australia on Sunday. I'm not sure when it is for the rest of the world. Let me know. So back to the layout. You can see I have added some clusters of what are they called? Enamel dots. Again in black, yellow and white. I'm coming in here with my Nouveau drops in the, I think it's called Grey Mist. And you'll notice too that I'm kind of working on that diagonal from the top left to the bottom right, really just reinforcing that flow of the page. And that was where I just finished off my eye. Some of those stickers, they're not stickers, they're word phrases. The one in the top left with that camera says smiling faces. I thought that was just a classic. And the one in the bottom right, this is definitely my personality, sarcasm. It says picture perfect. I just couldn't resist. The other three white ones that are in the middle of the page, one says love you, one says snapshots, and the other one says be you. So here is my still walkthrough of my page. I've got coming up the sketch. I'll make sure that I link Jana's channel as well for you. Here is the sketch again and all my close-ups. I really do hope that you are enjoying this series. Yeah, I would love to hear any feedback that you've got for me. And again, a big thank you for stopping by, for choosing to spend your time with me. If you have any questions or comments, please do leave them below. I'm more than happy to hear from you. Have a fantastic scrappy day, and I will see you in my next video, which will be tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.